This isn't the story of the meme you think you know. This is the story of how a national hero was made broken and is now fighting his way back from the absolute brink. And his journey is one of the most incredible tales of resilience in modern football. To see how it all unfolds, make sure you subscribe and hit that bell, because you won't want to miss this. Before we rewind time, let's start with that image. The one burned into the minds of football fans everywhere. Harry Maguire. Slabhead. Comedy Maguire. The turning fridge. He is the face of 1,000 memes, a walking punchline on social media, a symbol for many of Manchester United's painful decline. An 80 million defender whose every move seems destined for a viral blooper reel, leaving fans with their heads buried in their hands. That image, whether it's fair or not, has latched onto his story like a shadow. But to truly understand the soul of a footballer's career, you can't just scroll through the tragicomic clips edited and shared at the speed of light. Because behind the jeers, behind the cruel laughter, there is a long, arduous journey. It's the story of a boy from Sheffield who clawed his way to the very pinnacle of English football, who became a true national hero only to plummet into an abyss of criticism before beginning a defiant, lonely fight to find himself once more. This is the story of Jacob Harry Maguire. Our story begins in the heart of Sheffield, a steel city in the north of England, where football isn't just a sport, it's woven into the very fabric of life. It's in the blood. And for the Maguire family, that was literally true. Harry was born into a footballing household. His two brothers, Joe and Lawrence, are also professional footballers. But from a young age, it was clear Harry was different. He wasn't just bigger and taller than the other kids. He had this surprising, almost unnatural calmness on the ball, a composure you just didn't see in a lad his size. He joined the academy of his beloved hometown club, Sheffield United, and it didn't take long for the coaches to realize they had a special gem on their hands. They saw more than just a future center back. They saw a leader in the making. Then came the moment. April 2011. A crucial match against Cardiff City. Sheffield United are losing, the atmosphere is tense. And an 18-year-old Harry Maguire is brought on from the bench. What happened next was extraordinary. The youngster didn't just cope, he commanded. He played with the unshakable confidence of a 10-year veteran, a man possessed. And despite his team's defeat, he was deservedly named Man of the Match. It was the first time the wider football world whispered the name Harry Maguire. In the years that followed, he wasn't just a player for the Blades. He was their pillar, an indispensable rock at the back. And the fans at Bramall Lane adored him. Not just because he was one of their own, but because of his electrifying style. Maguire wasn't a defender who just hoofed the ball into the stands. No, he wanted the ball at his feet. He would surge forward from defense, these powerful galloping runs that would break through opposition lines and send a jolt of excitement through the stadium. It was the first glimpse of the trademark that would later make his name. And even though Sheffield United were languishing in the lower leagues, Maguire was a beacon of light. He was named the club's Player of the Year for 3 consecutive seasons, a phenomenal achievement for a player so young. It was undeniable. Bramall Lane had become too small for his talent. In the summer of 2014, Harry Maguire took that first daunting step up the ladder. He joined Hull City for $2.5 million a team, breathing the rarefied air of the Premier League. It was a colossal leap from the grit of League One to the glamour of English football's top flight. And like any great leap, it wasn't easy. In fact, it was brutal. Maguire found himself completely lost in the shuffle, struggling to even get a look in. He was the 4th-choice center-back buried on the depth chart behind established defenders like Michael Dawson and Curtis Davies. From being the king of his castle in Sheffield, he was now a forgotten man. To find his feet to get precious minutes on the pitch, he was loaned out to Wigan Athletic in the Championship. It was a humbling step back, but it was exactly what he needed. Away from the blinding spotlight of the Premier League in a less pressurized environment, he slowly but surely began to rediscover his confidence, sharpening his skills and remembering the player he was. When he returned to Hull City, the winds of fortune had shifted. Under the guidance of a new manager, Marco Silva Maguire finally got his chance to shine. Silva saw what others had missed. He recognized the immense potential locked inside this towering center-back. He didn't just play him, he trusted him. And Maguire repaid that faith tenfold. He transformed into an absolute rock in their defense, blending raw physical strength with an impressive composed passing ability. He even scored his first Premier League goal, a towering header against Middlesbrough, a moment of pure, unadulterated joy. Although Hull City were tragically relegated at the end of that 2016-2017 season, Maguire's individual performances had sent shockwaves through the league. He was voted the club's Player of the Season, a decision backed by both his teammates and the fans. He had proven beyond any doubt that he belonged in the Premier League. The question was no longer if he could succeed, but which giant club would be the one to secure his signature. The answer came from Leicester City. In the summer of 2017, the Foxes spent a cool $17 million to bring Maguire to the King Power Stadium. And this was the perfect move. Leicester, the fairy tale Premier League champions of 2016, was a club brimming with ambition, but without the suffocating day-in, day-out pressure of the traditional giants. It was the perfect breeding ground for him to truly explode. And explode he did. In his very first season, he played every single minute of every single Premier League game, a staggering testament to his durability and his importance to the team. Alongside the legendary captain Wes Morgan, he formed a formidable central defensive partnership. His style became more and more defined. He was the epitome of the modern center-back, not just a defender, but the man who launched the attacks. Those marauding runs from his own half became a Leicester specialty. A signature move that would consistently catch opponents off guard and bring the fans to their feet. But it was the summer of 2018 that changed everything. The summer that transformed Harry Maguire from a very good Premier League defender into a global superstar. He was called up by Gareth Southgate to the England squad for the World Cup in Russia. What a magical, unforgettable summer that was. The entire nation of England was swept up in a tidal wave of football fever. Southgate's young, vibrant team breathed new life and hope into the country, and Harry Maguire was right at the heart of it. Playing in the center of a back three, he was an absolute colossus at both ends of the pitch. The nickname Slabhead was born initially as a playful tease from his teammate Jamie Vardy, but it quickly became a term of endearment, a chant sung with pride by fans in pubs and stadiums across the land. His crowning moment, the one etched into history, came in the quarter-final against Sweden. A corner whipped into the box. Time seemed to slow down. Maguire rose a giant amongst men higher than everyone else and connected with his slab head, powering a thunderous header into the back of the net. To open the scoring for England, the nation erupted. The image of him celebrating, roaring with pure primal pride, became iconic. After the match, a photo of him casually chatting with his fiancée, Fern Hawkins, on the touchline, a picture of humility while the world sang his praises, only made the public fall in love with him more. He was the working-class hero, the ordinary lad who had conquered the world. England would eventually fall in a heartbreaking semi-final, but it didn't matter. Harry Maguire returned home a national hero. At the absolute peak of his powers, a national hero with the world at his feet. What would you have done? Would you take the risk and move to one of the biggest clubs in the world? Or stay where you are, loved and secure? Let me know your honest answer in the comments below. Maguire's career had rocketed into a new stratosphere. He was no longer just a target for big clubs, he was a target for the biggest clubs. And in the summer of 2019, Manchester United did what they do best. They broke the bank, smashing the world record to make him the most expensive defender in the history of football, with a mind-boggling fee of £80 million. Joining Manchester United, the theatre of dreams, is the pinnacle of any footballer's ambition. But with it comes a pressure that is almost unimaginable. That £80 million price tag wasn't just a number, it was a crown of thorns. People didn't just expect him to defend, they expected him to be the next Virgil van Dijk, a transformative figure who would single-handedly fix a broken defense. His initial spell at Old Trafford was actually quite promising. He was a constant presence, a leader on the pitch, and after just 6 short months, manager Ole Gunnar Solskjaer made a huge statement. He handed Harry Maguire the captain's armband. It was a symbol of absolute trust, a clear sign that he was the man to lead the club's rebuild. He barely missed a game, he was a solid shield, and United seemed to be on the right path, finishing the season in 3rd place. But then came the turning point. A fateful moment that had nothing to do with football. It happened during a holiday in Mykonos, Greece in the summer of 2020. A scuffle outside a bar, a confrontation with local police. And suddenly Harry Maguire, the captain of Manchester United and hero of England, was arrested. The news exploded across the globe. The incident became a ravenous media storm, and although Maguire has always maintained that he and his family were the victims, he was found guilty by a Greek court, a verdict that was later appealed and is still awaiting a retrial. That Mykonos incident was the catalyst. It was the first crack in the hero's armor. And when the new season began, his form fell off a cliff. His confidence, once his greatest asset, seemed to have completely evaporated. His weaknesses, particularly his lack of explosive pace and his turning circle, were now being ruthlessly exposed by every quick-footed forward in the league. Every single mistake, no matter how small, was put under an intense microscope. That £80 million price tag was no longer a badge of honor. It was the stick used to beat him with. The relentless, toxic nature of social media poured gasoline on the fire. Maguire became the subject of non-stop ridicule. Compilation videos of his gaffes racked up millions of views. Memes about the fridge or his comedic defending flooded the internet. In the blink of an eye, he had gone from a hero to a global laughingstock. The pressure on his shoulders became immense, suffocating. The captain's armband was no longer an honor. It was a terrible, heavy burden. The arrival of new managers, first Ralf Rangnick and then Erik ten Hag, only made his situation worse. Their tactical systems demanded a high defensive line, a style of play that cruelly exposed Maguire's lack of recovery speed. He gradually lost his place in the team to faster, more agile center-backs like Lisandro Martinez and Rafael Varane. And then in the summer of 2023, the inevitable happened. Erik ten Hag stripped him of the captaincy. It was the ultimate humiliation, a public declaration that he was no longer the leader of Manchester United. It felt like the end. But the story of Harry Maguire is a story of fighting back when all hope seems lost. If you believe in tales of resilience and incredible comebacks, make sure you're subscribed to Legends of Football League, because we live for stories like this, and you will not want to miss what happens next. Stripped of the captaincy, frozen out of the starting lineup, and turned into a worldwide joke, these are the kinds of blows that would finish any player's career. And many people thought Maguire's time at Manchester United was over. A transfer away seemed like the only possible logical escape route. West Ham United made a concrete offer. The deal was on the table. Everything was practically finalized. But then, at the very last minute, Harry Maguire made a shocking, defiant decision. He refused to leave. He chose to stay at Old Trafford and fight for his place. It was a decision that required either extraordinary courage or an almost unbelievable level of stubbornness. He was choosing to face the prospect of sitting on the bench, of facing the ridicule from his own team's fans week in, week out. But there was one place where the belief in Harry Maguire never ever wavered: the England national team. Gareth Southgate remained his most staunch defender. Despite his abysmal form at his club, whenever Maguire pulled on that white shirt of the Three Lions, he seemed to transform. He became a different person. He played with confidence, with solidity, with the air of a true leader. At the 2022 World Cup in Qatar, he was without a doubt one of England's best players, creating this bizarre, stark contrast with the broken figure he cut at United. And then, as if written in the stars, an opportunity presented itself back at his club. An injury crisis ripped through Manchester United's defense. Martinez, Varane, Luke Shaw, one by one, they were all sidelined. With his back against the wall, Erik ten Hag had no other choice. He had to place his trust back in Harry Maguire. And Maguire seized that opportunity with both hands. He returned to the starting lineup and played with an incredible, desperate determination. The clumsy, meme-worthy mistakes vanished, replaced by decisive, crunching tackles, powerful aerial duels, and crisp, accurate passes forward. He wasn't trying to be a player, he wasn't. He focused entirely on his strengths. He played his game. The change in attitude from the fans inside Old Trafford was remarkable. The groans, the boos, the jeers, they slowly faded away, replaced by genuine, heartfelt applause. They weren't just clapping for a good tackle. They were clapping for his sheer professionalism, for his unbreakable, never-say-die attitude. If Harry's fight back from the brink inspired you, share this story with another football fan who appreciates true grit. And while you're at it, who's another player whose story of resilience we need to tell? Drop your suggestions below. The absolute pinnacle of this incredible comeback came when he was named the Premier League's Player of the Month for November 2023. From a reviled outcast, he had returned to become a hero in the eyes of his own fans, at least for a moment. The story of Harry Maguire is far from over. He may never fully recapture that flawless image of the national hero from the glorious summer of 2018. The weight of that £80 million price tag and the ghosts of those social media memes will probably follow him for the rest of his career. But his story has become something much more complex, much more human, and far more fascinating. It's no longer a simple tale of success or failure. It is now a powerful story of human resilience. It's about how you get back on your feet after being knocked down, ridiculed, and written off by the entire world. It's about facing the most brutal public criticism imaginable and still finding a way to maintain your professionalism and your self-respect. Harry Maguire is no longer the $80 million savior he was meant to be, but he is also no longer just a fridge. He is a footballer, a man who has experienced the most dizzying highs and the most crushing lows that few of us can even imagine, all played out under the relentless glare of millions. The next chapter of his career is still a blank page. Can he maintain this form and rewrite his legacy at Manchester United? Or will his incredible journey take him somewhere else entirely? Only time will tell. But one thing is absolutely certain. Harry Maguire's story is a powerful reminder that in football, just as in life, sometimes the most important quality isn't just talent. It's the resilience and the fighting spirit to simply keep going. And that is a story worth following. And that's where this incredible football story stands for now. What a journey. Right, I am so eager to hear your thoughts. What moment in his rise and fall stood out to you the most? Did his struggle and his fight to come back resonate with you? Please share all your opinions, your favorite moments from his career, and any questions you have in the comments below. I truly love reading them and building this amazing football community with all of you.